what's going on, Replo fam? I've got my boy Jordan Hayes back again, and we're going to talk about offers. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to go straight into it. You've probably heard or read Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers. You've seen countless tweets about offers. Jordan has graciously taken time out of his day to break offers down. We're going to go through a couple different offer types, and then we're also going to talk about how you can actually tactically execute them in your business, all the way to how you pull them off inside of Replo. So without further ado, Jordan, welcome back, brother. Tell us about offers.
Yeah, thanks, Sanjay. It's great to be here again. And yeah, excited to talk about offers today because I think it's something that e-commerce brands don't leverage enough. You see it a lot in the info space. Hormozi talks about it. A lot of the examples he gives are more like brick and mortar businesses, service-based businesses. But I think there's a lot of offers, that you could test. So what we'll do is I'll share my screen. We'll go through 5 different offer types, and we're gonna, as Sanjay said, pause on each one, see how we can add some more value, and also how you can actually do this in Replo as well. So let me just share my screen.
While you're pulling that up, one of the things that I think is really fascinating is that e-commerce people think, oh, I'm just going to slap like a 20% discount on it and call it an offer. Yeah. And what you're going to see as Jordan walks us through, these 5 different offer types and all the different subvariants of these offers, is an offer is much more than that. It's not just percent off. There's a lot of different tools and tricks to build a real offer. And if you can figure one of these out for your business, you can transform your business. If you can figure out how to do a lot of these, we're talking about some game changer, $100 million stuff. So, all right, walk us through it, man.
Yeah, you can see my screen, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, Sanjay, you were saying like a lot of brands that just slap the 20% off, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't really, basically, the use of an offer is to decommoditize you from other brands, right? It's to try and separate you from the competition. And it's also, especially when you're going after cold traffic, it's like, how do you make something that is going to be attractive to those cold users who have likely never heard of your brand before, right? So first of all, let's start with like, what is an offer itself, right? My definition is simply what you are giving someone in exchange for that money, right? And it can be a construct of multiple items or a single item. And a big part of the offer is the packaging, right? Like how it's named, how it's described. You can have a standalone product, but packaged in different ways to appeal to different customer segments, right? So you could have a skincare serum, but depending on who you're talking to, you might talk about different benefits, right? And it might be an anti-aging serum, or it might be a serum that clears acne, right? Same products might do multiple things, but it's just the packaging and the way that's presented that appeals to different ways. It's a similar thing with offers, right? And the best offers are packaged, named, and described in a way that is direct and specific to the customer's problem and desired outcome, rather than being generic and broad. Now, there is a caveat to this where like starter kits and starter sets tend to work really well, but as long as the experience that customer is coming from, let's say the ad, or maybe it's on the landing page, that you are talking specifically about the problems that they're facing and their desired outcomes, then presenting them with just an offer that's like, the 3-in-1 starter kit, then they're coming in with a different frame, right? So in that case, it works. And of course, this just requires knowing who your customer is, right? Pain points, desires, just like, you do research for your ad creatives, for your landing pages, for your PDP, for your product. It's the same thing with offers. Like you just want it to be congruent with who you're going after. And of course, just like ads as well, just like landing pages, you want to be able to test multiple offers and structures to find what works. Don't stop at one. Have multiple set up and test them. So one point that isn't here that I'd like to add is just determining like the unit economics of the offer as well. Because if you're combining multiple products, especially if they're different products, you're going to have different CPA targets, right? Depending on the costs of those products combined. So just keep that in mind. And if you are going to be running an offer, just make sure to run the numbers and adjust your CPA target accordingly. All right. So
Really quickly, Jordan,
Yeah.
on like when you're working with a client, are you, I mean, how much of this work are you doing versus like asking your client to do? What's like the give and take there?
Yeah. So when we work with clients, like our model as an agency is we partner with a small number of brands. So we're able to go very deep into each of the brands that we work with. So offers is something that we take on. Like we come up with the offers. We have insights into the product metrics, like the COGS, all that stuff. So we're able to construct offers that we think will be allow us to be efficient on our front end customer acquisition, right? So we'll build out the offer, and then we'll also build out the experience of the offer, whether it's on Replo or whether we're using Shopify apps to facilitate the build.
So, and that's one of the, I guess, more unique parts of your agency, if I'm not mistaken, is that you actually have kind of a financial bench, right? And you're able to go in and really understand to your point, the unit economics a lot better. For the folks that aren't working with you, what do you have any recommendations on like how they should be thinking about unit economics or what tools they should be like leveraging to be able to really dial in an offer and make sure that it works from a numbers perspective?
Yeah, I think we've always gone back to the good old spreadsheet, right? Like we have a way to basically outline all the COGS, cost of sales, and then use those to determine what a CPA target is at different levels of spend. And we do that on a per product basis, right? Each individual product has its own profile. So if you are selling multiple of the same product in an offer, then that's very, very easy, right? You could just multiply it, right? And you might even be able to ship 3 items in the same package as you would be able to ship 1, right? So now you got to factor in those changes as well. So like packaging costs per unit will go down. And if you're doing different kind of products, then obviously same thing, right? You just have different profiles for different products. You would do the calculations to understand what your CAC target should be. And then you'd really combine like whatever your offer is. Let's say it's a bundle, you're combining products together. Then you're going to want to like rerun the numbers, right? So you combine all the costs together. So you understand like if we were to sell this bundle of these 2 or 3 products together, this is our cost of sales. And with that, if we want to make X amount of profit on this or maybe break even on the front end, this is a CAC that we need to achieve.
Got it. Okay, cool. That's awesome, man. Thank you.
Of course.
What else? What's next?
Yeah, so just going into more of the importance of offers, just before we dive into each of the types itself. So as I mentioned at the beginning, when you have a well-built offer, it allows you to decommoditize yourself from the rest of the market, right? The whole idea here is that customers are always drawing comparisons from other products, right? They're thinking about the availability of similar offers on Amazon. They're looking at your competitors, they're doing research. And what we want to do is how can we separate ourselves so that we cannot be compared one-to-one with those other items or only be compared on price. So an offer allows you to do that because it allows you to raise the perceived value, especially if you get it right. That's what it's designed to do. Second reason why they're important is you can position yourself as unique, different, and new in the eyes of the customer, right? A lot of the offers I see are like this sort of like new way, like the newness of something is always appealing to us as humans. So if we're able to tie that in with the offer, then it can elevate it. And of course, increase AOV and conversion rate, which is really the main reason, I guess, aside from, decommoditizing yourself will by effect increase your conversion rate. And if you build a bundle that has a strong AOV and you're able to convert customers into that bundle, then your AOV is going to increase, right? So the whole idea here is that one of the areas for cold customer acquisition, especially from ads, you want to focus on are these 2 metrics, your AOV and conversion rate. Because if you're just focusing on your ad metrics and improving your creatives, that's great. But if you're sending that traffic to, let's just say a PDP or a page that is not designed to convert and you're selling single products, maybe AOV is too low, then that could be a reason why maybe your ad performance isn't where it needs to be, right? So just to summarize this, all of these things give you an edge over your competitors. They make your ad spend more profitable, and they give you more room to scale your ad spend while still acquiring customers on target. And from experience, we've worked with clients where we introduced offers and we found offers that work, and all of a sudden, AOV increases, conversion increases, customer acquisition, like NC ROAS is profitable, and we're able to hit the gas on the spend, right? Just because we made that change to what customers were actually buying.
One of the things that later on in this document, there's some, it's kind of a snapshot from ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson. And one of the key concepts that I learned from Russell Brunson back like 10 years ago was it's, he who can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. And I'm sure Russell Brunson learned that from Dan Kennedy and learned that from someone else and so on and so forth. But, part of this thing is like, you said, if you're just working on your ad metrics, like you're not thinking about like your AOV and your conversion rate on these sorts of things, like you can try to get like a lower CPA, but really everyone else is trying to do that. The real value is being able to continuously profitably acquire customers at any CPA. CPAs are going to go up. It's the law of nature. It's like entropy essentially. But if you can continuously acquire customers profitably, and you can afford a higher CPA, you just completely like push everybody else out of the market. It's a complete takeover mentality. And I think that I'm starting to see this more and more in our community, but I do think that it's not, the idea hasn't fully resonated yet. And I'm really glad you called that out.
Yeah. I think as well, like not to go off topic, but I think it is related, also LTV, right? Like because now everything starts to come together. If you can acquire customers at your target, whether that's to break even on the front end or be profitable first order, then you're already in a really good place. Most businesses are acquiring new customers at a loss. But then if you can also build the back end where you can extend customer LTV and you have an ecosystem of products that you can sell, but also find ways to sell more of the product they purchase. Of course, there'll be cases where, that is not the case, right? If you're selling a stroller, you're only going to need one stroller, right? But you could sell accessories for that stroller. You could expand more into the baby and parenting market, right? Like there's different ways to go about it, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, keep with the baby analogy, diapers are a loss leader for so many retailers for a reason. They get people in the door. They need the diapers. They're going to lose a little bit of money, but they're going to buy the formula. They're going to buy the clothing, etc. So yeah, it makes so much sense, man.
Awesome.
So much this stuff seems like common sense, but it may not be. Maybe it's not common enough.
Yeah, I think like ecom, at least a lot of ecom operators, they don't apply the age-old principles to the online world. Like you're still like, it's still sales, and a lot of what retail do, like the loss leaders, right? Like those apply online as well. And they're going to apply more now that CPAs are like higher than ever and will continue to rise. But yeah, let's go through each of the offers.
Let's do it.
So offer type number one is called a quantity break offer. And what this is it's one that has multiple options with different quantities of the same product, right? So we're talking about someone buying multiple of the same thing. It's also called the more you buy, the more you save, just because the higher quantity comes with greater savings and or bonus. That's how it's usually structured. And it works best for consumable products, but you can get creative and apply it to any product where the customer would benefit from having more than one. And I'm going to show you an example of that in just a moment. A lot of people think this is only for supplements, or I don't know, maybe if you're selling coffee, but if you sell, let's say, something that actually can't be consumed, you can still build an offer like this. Usually there's maximum 3 options for the customer to choose from. In some cases it's 4. I like to do 3 just because assumers we think in threes. With an offer like this, you can and you should optimize towards making the middle option the most attractive. Most people will choose the first or second option anyway, especially new customers who've never heard of you before. they're very unlikely to go for the most expensive option. So you want to, well, at least what we do is we focus at the beginning, increasing the take rate on the second option, the middle option. This is called the magnetic middle, something Hormozi talks about as well. And a great example of this is movie theaters, right? They do it, like, they make it a no-brainer to buy a medium-sized popcorn. Like, I don't know if I've ever bought the small popcorn, because you look at the small popcorn price and look at the medium popcorn price, and it's like, it's an extra $1 or whatever, and I'm getting so much more, and it's a no-brainer, right? So that's what they do. They price the medium size just above the small. So the customer sees they're getting a lot more popcorn for just a few extra dollars. And as a cost, like for the business side, it doesn't cost the movie theater hardly anything, right? To make those, like, it's like an extra few kernels of popcorn, right? So it's mainly extra profit. So the margin on that is much, much better. Before we go to the examples, Sanjay, do you want to add anything on this?
No, I'm excited to see the examples. Most critically, I'm excited to see how this doesn't work, or how you can apply this to non-consumables, how you get creative with that. Because like, I'll when you go through these, I'll talk about some stuff on the supplement side. But yeah, I'm really excited to see this. Let's go in.
Okay, cool. So the first examples are supplements, but wait till the end for the non-consumable one. So this is a classic, like 1, 2, 4, right? 1 month supply, 2 month supply, 4 month supply. And this is for a nootropic. So the structure here is like, you buy 1, no savings. You go buy 2, again, no savings. But if you buy 4, you get 1 for free, right? So technically you're only paying for 3, which means you get a 25% saving. And then a very common thing, and something I really recommend you do if you run this type of offer, is you always state the cost per serving, right? Or the cost per each individual unit that they're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's something psychological that signals like, hang on, this is $1.73 versus $2.30 per serving. And yeah, it's very, very effective. So this is one where I would say this is like the most on-brand quantity break offer I've seen, where it's not like a crazy, like free gifts and bonuses and like not like a super direct response, but it still does the job.
Yeah, and most companies can turn this on today, like very, very easily. Another thing to kind of like build on the quantity, like the per serving or per usage, you can also stretch it out to like per day. Like if you're selling coffee, for example, it's a 50 cents per day. And then you think about how much you're spending at Starbucks or Tim Hortons or wherever you're getting your coffee from. And you're like, oh man, it's like so much cheaper for better coffee. And it's so easy. There's a gentleman named Chris, goes by Ecom Cowboy on Twitter, and he had a short form video go viral talking about this. It's like girl math marketing, essentially. It's like breaking it down into sizes that's very manageable. It's like, oh, it's it's not $207. It's only $1.73 per serving. Like, that's a completely different mind game.
Yeah, spot on. Another thing I want to touch on here is interesting is usually left to right, it goes like up in quantity. So usually you would have like 1, 2, 4, but these guys do it the opposite way. And I don't know if that's like some sort of anchoring with pricing. I'm not sure, but it's working for them. So maybe an interesting thing to test if you wanted to run this offer structure.
I would imagine on mobile, these are stacked as well. So the first thing that they're going to see is best value, most popular. It's the 4 month supply, and you got to scroll further down.
Yeah.
Some might say it's a dark pattern. I think it's actually a pretty effective thing to test. It's not that hard either to test it.
Yeah. Awesome. So going into another example, again, supplements, again, nootropic. But this one, you can get 1 box, no savings. You could buy 3 and get 50% off plus a free gift. Or you could buy 6 and get 70% off plus a free gift. Now, if I'm a new customer, like, what do you think I'm going to go for? Like the 1 box, okay, like $33. I could spend 66, but get like 3 times as much and this free gift, and I'm saving 50%. Like for me, I'd go for this one, right? The 3 months, because this one by 6, like, am I even going to use 6? But 3, like, yeah, I use 3. If it's good and assuming you did a good job at the ad and the landing page, the customer should be compelled to buy a product. So yeah, this one is a really strong one because it adds in that free gift. So there's an element of increased perceived value. Like if you were to compare, let's just say apples to apples, like which nootropic should I purchase? Well, this one is giving me like knowledge, right? Especially if they're targeting a specific market that, they want to take a supplement to improve their brain function, their focus, their productivity, their memory, right? And I know this brand focuses a lot on the older demographic and memory. So I think this ties in really well, right? Because it's just like, it's hard for me to compare this brand and this offer to other ones because I'm not getting the free guide. So yeah, I think this one is a really powerful one.
Yeah, decommoditizes, and that free gift, like it may not cost much. Like obviously they have Randy Couture. And I'm assuming Randy Couture is, one of the founders or very deeply involved in the business. I think it's kind of funny, just anecdotally or not anecdotally, but just as an aside, Randy Couture, a fighter, probably got hit in the head quite a bit. Master your memory kind of makes a lot of sense for a nootropic to be kind of tied in there. Pretty cool alignment, if you ask me. But it doesn't require that much effort to build one of these. Obviously, you want to make, free gift, whatever free gift it is, make it good, but it doesn't have to be like, revolutionary by any means. It doesn't have to take you a ton of time. That's probably like a really simple ebook that took not that long to write, and then they package it up. Maybe they print it out and give you a physical copy. That's super cheap to produce as well. But it's these little things like that, again, increasing the perceived value, decommoditizing, increasing your average order value, increasing your conversion rates, like all the things that Jordan's mentioned, this does really, really well. After we go through some of these examples on the quantity break, before we go to the next offer type, I do want to talk about post-purchase, how we kind of layer this in, but let's go through some of the other examples here before we go too far ahead.
Yeah. And last thing, if you're going to do something like an ebook, like make it look like a physical book, right? And then just specify that like, hey, we're not actually going to send you a physical book, just an ebook. But what it does, again, like it raises the perceived value. If you just were to say like, I don't know, if it looked like a PDF or paper, like it doesn't hold a lot of value. So put some effort in to make it like a cover. And yeah, just test it.
It's very simple to do. You can do it in Canva.
Yeah. Here's another one, right? I'm sorry, again, another supplement and another nootropic. I don't know what happened. But this is Alpha Brain from On It. And you could get one, no savings. You could buy two, get 25% off plus a free gift. Or you could buy three and get 30% off plus free gift plus free shipping, right? So you could see that like the commonalities, especially between these two offers, right? Of course, you have more quantity, but you also have more savings the more you buy. And you also have free gifts that are layered in. Now, On It is a little bit more, I guess, of a complex, like, I like this one the best because it's just simple and it's easy for me to make a decision because it's just more of the same, right? And just one variable of a free gift. But with On It, I kind of have to concentrate and focus a little bit more because this is like, okay, this is a melatonin free gift, but this one is a different free gift. And which one do I want, right? So you might just want to simplify it a little bit. This might be crushing for Alpha Brain, right? But from my perspective is I might want two, but I might not want this. I might want this instead, right? So that would be the only thing I would say.
I think they were doing like 50 million or 52 million or something through this particular funnel a couple of years ago. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of a increased cognitive load relative to the last one because do I want the sleep thing? Do I want the new mood thing? It actually looks like you're getting more in a way, just like at a glance, and you're not, but you kind of look like you're getting more in the middle tier, which obviously most popular is what they want you to get, probably the best margins. But it just because like the way that the melatonin and the sleep packaging is set up is a box and then this little thing kind of feels like you're getting more. But again, this was effective for Alpha Brain. And follows very similar principles to everything we've talked about. This is a great opportunity to call out, like, sometimes the free gift could be something else in your catalog that's like a low cost product for you. Don't feel like you have to go invent something completely new. If you have something complimentary, part of packaging an offer is figuring out, what do people need? How are people using your product? And then kind of assembling it together and structuring it in a way that's like easy for them to get the maximum amount of benefit from your business, which obviously Ahmed's done a really good job here.
Yeah, for sure. For one of our clients, what we did was they were consumable, and we took a travel size version of the product and used that as a free gift, and it worked. So you don't even have to add, I guess, different products. Like if someone actually would use a travel size, then that could also be an option.
Yeah.
Cool. And then,
That's awesome.
you can see here that, the savings are very clear. The per serving savings are also stated. So yeah, again, same sort of principles that are just applied across the board. And lastly, let's talk about the non-consumable. So this is pillowcases, right? You may know Blissy, but they've done this quantity break offer with pillowcases, and you could buy one. There is savings. You save 30% if you buy one. You buy two, you save 40%. Or you could buy three and get one free and save 55%. And this is pre-selected. Obviously they want you to go for this one. But with pillowcases, most beds in the world that people own, or at least I guess let's just say US, are double beds. So you're going to need at least two, right? And if you have a partner, then you're going to need one. And if you're traveling often, then you're probably going to need another one. Or if one's in the wash, you're going to need another one. So this is what Blissy do really well, is that they've taken this product where people would say, oh, let's just sell one pillowcase, and the AOV on that would probably not be very good. And it's also a highly competitive product. But if we're able to, like, the funnel for this is very much around buying more for your partner, your friends, for traveling, keep one just in case. And yeah, they're able to sell more units because of that on the first order.
This is, and they do some really cool small things here as well. Like they've got the tiered, you can see the discounts being called out, say 55%, 40%, 30%. In two places, they've got the badges, and then they've got on the bottom bar. I think that's really clever. This is a really great quantity break discount. Honestly, this is, I'm so impressed by this. Yeah. I know with the amount of pillows that I have in my house, my girlfriend would definitely buy the four without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
But it's so this is such a genius. I have no notes here. That's fantastic. I was trying to figure out, like, how do you do it in the non-consumable? This is a great way. People, I have a ton of pillows, and we got pillowcases in the wash. I gotta put something on there. So this is fantastic. Makes so much sense.
Yeah. And I mean, the pricing here, when I added this in, I was in Dubai. So this is in dirhams. That's why it looks weird. But you can see, at least they have the each price as the main price, right? The total is small underneath, right? That's like a subtle thing. But the big number that you're comparing, 165 versus 256, like, the psychology is telling you that this is the cheapest option, right? But it's actually not. It's actually the most expensive, but the way that they're framing it and structuring it makes it look like it's the cheapest. So I think it's a really powerful use of that. Yeah.
Before we transition to the next offer type, and I want to make sure we get through, we got plenty of time today, but I want to make sure we get through the other offers. Before we get to the next one of the great things about quantity break discounts is if someone buys one of the lower tier offers, like the 1 unit or the 3 unit or whatever, and you really want them to get to the high, you can sell them on the post purchase on this offer. And not 9 to that, it really depends on your funnel, but like very often people will buy more of it, even though they just bought it. It's very counterintuitive. And every single time I've pitched to a brand owner, like, hey, I want to test this like quantity break on a post purchase. They're like, they just bought this. It doesn't make any sense. My favorite example that I got to work was I was managing ecom for a women's shapewear company. So primarily selling bras. What do I know about bras? Really? But I was like, yo, let's test this. Let's test to see if we can get people to buy more at a discount. And sure enough, we were able to get like 40% of people to buy at least an additional like bra. And these are $200 bras. These are like not cheap. And so I think we only gave them like a 20% discount, which, not bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like you could apply this to a lot of different businesses. And if you think you can, it's worth testing. There's probably some creative way to do so. And again, if you can't get them on the front end, definitely try on the back end because it's like the perfect time to sell them.
Yeah. Agreed. That like one-time offer. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, there's a really great book. It's a super deep cut. It's got a super cringy title, but it's like 12 months to a millionaire. And it's basically how to build a supplement company and scale it up to, like millions of dollars. But it was written in the 80s or the 90s. So it's not how do you do it on TV, or actually they didn't talk about TV. It's not how you do it on like Facebook ads or, email or whatever. It's talking about how you use direct mail, like physical print mail and TV ads to like build this business. And all of the principles that they talk about in that book, you can apply to the online stuff. Again, so this type of like consumer psychology and these principles have worked for decades, much longer than, your business has been around, frankly, like most people's business has been around. So if you're skeptical, give it a try.
Yeah. Also, cool. Let's move into the next offer type, which is free gift or purchase. So this one is, very, very simple. It's pretty self-explanatory, but a customer gets a free gift or multiple gifts when they purchase the product, right? Usually framed as a bonus. That is the gift. And this can be gamified where the free gift is only added after the customer spends a certain amount, and it increases the perceived value for the customer as well. So one example here is this mushroom coffee offer where you buy a pouch of the powder, but there's 3 free gifts. Well, I guess free shipping is not, classed as a gift, but physical gifts, you get this free mushroom magnet and this free acacia spoon, right? So again, like similar to how you would add a free gift in, like we saw here, right? Like an ebook or just maybe a different product. You could do that with the standalone purchase, right? So if someone's buying one product, but you're adding in multiple free gifts, again, it can increase the perceived value when they're just buying that one unit, right?
It makes so much sense. And, that's probably not going to add too much shipping cost, if any. It's like very negligible, like incremental cost there.
Yeah, usually the gifts are something small. They should be, because you want to try and fit it in the same package that customer is purchasing, right? You don't want them to get something free, but then you have to pay more for the shipping, right? And also something light as well, if possible. I know in some consumables, like if you're selling liquid especially, it's hard because it weighs a lot. But if you're selling supplements, supplements, you're golden. And then like a wooden spoon and a magnet, like doesn't weigh anything, right? It's not going to probably not going to change the shipping price in terms of weight.
Yeah. Hardly any. Yeah, that is something to really consider, especially like your dimensional weight. Like if you get something, maybe even if it is mostly air, but it takes up a lot of space, you can really kind of get yourself in trouble. Again, this goes back to what Jordan was saying at the beginning of when you're constructing these offers, really think about the unit economics of these things. How much are these bonuses going to cost me? Like what is it going to change for my fulfillment? Do I need to have new packaging for it? Do I need to use a different shipping rate or a shipping service to be able to pull this off? So it's worth modeling those things out as you're constructing these offers. Just a quick exercise. This is something that Hormozi talks about quite a bit in his book, is like start with like the craziest stuff and then kind of whittle your way down like to what you can actually, accomplish from a cost perspective, from a benefits perspective, et cetera. But yeah, just go back to the unit economics when you're building these.
Yeah, 100%. So this is, I guess, like another good example, because they get a 30 serving tin. It's like a supplement powder. But one of the free gifts is a free rechargeable frother. So there's 2 points I want to mention on the free gifts. One is should be complementary to the product they're purchasing because they're here for the main product, right? The free gift should be a bonus, right? It's like something that is a nice surprise and something that they would. So the second thing is like actually use, right? Like there needs to be some perceived value because if you're giving them something that they're not actually going to use, then that may deter them from purchasing altogether, right? Whereas a frother with this is also another mushroom coffee, like you're going to use it, right? Like they don't have one or they're planning on mixing it with a spoon, but who wants to mix it with a spoon, right? You could use a electric frother thing, right? These guys also offer a guidebook, a sticker, and a sample. They don't have values attached to these, but I think it'd probably be good to add values, and you could potentially do a value stack where you add up all the values and then you slash the price and you do like overall savings. But again, like the guidebook, similar to what we saw with Randy Couture, like this is your market and it makes a lot of sense for who you're targeting, then it can work really, really well.
Yep. Yeah, I actually had a supplement company I was doing work for last year, and they were selling a D-bloat pill, protein powder, and then like a greens powder. And we kind of put everything together, cooked up like an ebook, and then we added that free frother. People don't want to mix their protein or their greens powder with the spoon. Yeah. And we took the average order value of the company from like $54 to about $120 in about 2 months, just from like putting all that together. And it's those little things, but like you would think, okay, like, I mean, I don't enjoy like, if I don't have a clean shaker bottle, I'm going to probably, I have to get a frother out. I don't really enjoy using a spoon to mix my protein. So yeah, it makes sense. And yeah, it's just like congruency. It's very linear stuff, man. I love it.
Yeah. And some of that is such low cost, right? Like, yeah, supplementary, low cost, high perceived value. It's the perfect free gift. And it's probably also really nice.
It was a couple bucks landed. Yeah, it was a couple bucks landed with the branding, like the logo branded onto the. Yeah. Obviously, you might have to buy this like a decent quantity of it, but it's not the end of the world. You're going to move it because it's going to improve your offer.
Yeah. Yep. Last example is some athletic greens. So they have this. It's different options, and you get different free gifts depending on the option, right? So single subscription, you get a free welcome kit, which is a canister, shaker, and 5 travel packs. If you order a double subscription, you get a free welcome kit plus a year supply of vitamin D3 and K2, right? So again, I would add the value of this next to it. And this is kind of a quantity break offer in itself. So I would take this with the free gifts and I would actually display it. I think the visual just makes it much, much easier for the customer to see what they're going to get, right? But I thought this was interesting where they're adding, different products as free gifts, but also this welcome kit where you get the canister, which is like a tin where you basically take the powder and put it in a nice tin, a shaker, and then some additional of the same product. So moving into option number 3, which is bundles. So bundles can be pre-built, right? So it's a pre-built combination of products that are priced in a way that has greater savings compared to each of those products purchased individually, right? So everyone knows what a bundle is, right? But you also have an option for build your own bundles, or BYOB for short, where the customer can select which products they want to include in their bundle. And especially if you have a lot of different SKUs, a lot of different variants, flavors, colors, designs, whatever it may be, having a build your own bundle could be a great way to put that together, right? Because especially for like apparel, like if you're building pre-built combinations of products, you'll have to build a lot of different variants of bundles to maybe appeal to everyone. There might be like 3 or 4 products that are just your top sellers, and that may be good to construct as a pre-built bundle because you know that someone is likely to come and would like all the individual products that are in this bundle. But I think it's worth testing a build your own bundle experience as well to see if that leads to a higher conversion rate. So Obviously,
It's like, you know, you're in the store, you know, and this is actually probably a great kind of play into some retail experiences, retail offers where, you know, you can pick and choose, you know, you have that freedom to do so. Now, executing this on a technical basis can be a little tougher, and we'll talk about that here in a bit, but yeah, I mean, you're giving some level of agency to the customer, which is really nice. And they still get to take advantage of a really great offer.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the key, which we'll see in the examples, is you're giving the customer choice to curate their bundle, but the key is not to give them too much choice so it's overwhelming, right? Like if you give them too much choice, they're probably not going to make a decision. So I think there's a balance there that you have to find. And of course, when we're talking about bundles, we're talking about increasing AOV, right? It's probably one of the best ways to increase AOV, especially if you are using something like a starter pack, which by default lets the customer know that if they're new to the brand, they should start with that bundle because it's a starter pack. It's like the welcome kit, whatever it is, right? And it's a very seamless way to bring new customers into your ecosystem. Another point is you can use bundles to pair best-selling products with not so popular products to shift more inventory of the not so popular products. So I've seen this a lot where, let's just say you have like 2 best sellers, but then maybe there's products that are just not selling and it's just inventory that you're going to have to shift upon clearance or do something with. You can add that to the bundle, increase perceived value, increase the price, and shift that stock, right? And there's an opportunity to combine physical and digital products together in bundles, better margin, right? Similar to what we saw, again, with this example. Technically, this is a bundle as well, right? Like at the end, I'm going to bring this all together with layering offers, but adding physical and digital together is a really, really good idea where it makes sense because the margin is much, much better, and you could do a really good job at increasing perceived value if you get it right. So just going into the examples. So this one here is a Rainbow Dust Premium Starter Kit, right? So someone that's new to the brand, where should you start? You should start with the starter kit, right? If you've never tried it before, and you get the product and you get some additional things that come alongside it. So this is like a very common pre-built bundle offer that our customers will get. Another example is this one, where you get this 4-in-1 red light therapy skincare wand and an activating serum kit. And the thing I love about this bundle of these 2 products is you're selling a physical, I guess, one-time purchase product where, let's say typically you would just drive people to a PDP to purchase this wand. But the fact that you're also selling a consumable, it means that there is a continuity aspect to this offer, and therefore the customers that you're acquiring. I think it's really smart. You know, if you're selling consumables, skincare, the value and the thing that I guess someone would pay the majority of this for is the wand, right? It's the thing that has the highest perceived value, and you could charge a lot more for this wand than this activating serum, right? Which is probably no different to other ones out there. But the fact that it's paired together, and let's just say once you purchase, you're auto enrolled into a subscription after this where you continue to get the serum every 30 days. I think that's a great offer.
Yeah, it's fantastic. That's really genius. I mean, on the post-purchase email sequence, right? Like, oh, hey, when they get it, you tell them how to use it. A few days later, you're like, how was it? A few days after that, or like a month after that, you're like, cool. Get the skin therapy serum on subscription, so you still have utility in the wand that you have. It's genius. Yeah.
And the way that they sell this is they say, look, in order to get the most out of the wand, you need this activating serum. Like the serum is what activates the benefits that you're going to get. So I think it's really smart how they've done it.
Yeah, it's genius. The skincare people always have the hardcore stuff. They always know what's up.
Yeah. Always go to skincare supplements because those are the like highly demanded markets where it's so easy to commoditize. Like I think skincare supplements, I guess people are getting a bit more sophisticated now with like quality of ingredients. But you see Pet Lab Co. I think in our last video we spoke about advertorials where you want to dispel other options, right? And you want to say our ingredients are so potent, and so the way that we formulate them together has this bioavailability that other brands don't have, right? And we're transparent with the doses and all this stuff. Yeah.
Jordan, I'm going to quickly pause you and say we've got like 5 minutes. So we might have to do this in 2 parts, do like part 2, but I just want to give you that warning.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it's worth, I don't want to like zoom through it in case you miss something. But
I think we just book another hour, like sometime late next week, maybe this time next week, and record part 2. But we can go ahead and get this. If what we'll do is we can record a outro for this, and then say there's a part 2 coming, and then we'll record part 2 next week. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So
that work?
Should we outro now? Or do you want to go through the rest of? Yeah. Let's just finish off this offer.
No, let's finish this. Let's finish this, and then we can outro. Cool.
All right, let me know once we're running in.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Awesome. So moving into the next example, again, similar to like a starter kit, this is something that Waterdrop, it works really well for them. This is a 9-figure brand. They scale to like 300 million in revenue. And yeah, this front end offer where they're giving you a taste of all the different flavors, it allows you to try them. And then when you come back, you might say, oh, I like, the peach and ginger the best, right? I'm going to buy more of that. So if you have a lot of flavors, I see this as well with, I think Nick Sharma talks about doing this with Hint, where they were able to include like a multi-variety pack. And it's also another way to shift stock inventory that is maybe not getting as many sales, right? But this BlackBerry one may not get a lot of sales, but every time someone buys a hydration set, they're able to sell one, right? And they're able to just clear that inventory. Here's another example from Glow Recipe skincare brand. Yeah, this is like really, really common, but this is just kind of an all-in-one, like an 8-piece kit. You see this a lot with skincare. Yeah. And then touching on the build your own bundles. So again, allowing customers to curate their own bundle can be better if you maybe are not sure what they would like, what individual products they would like to piece together. So Pupuri does this really well. They offer different types of products and obviously different smells, different scents. Club Early Bird does this, and a lot more limited choice. I like this one better. I think mainly also because they have a limited SKU number count, but they're able to build your own starter kit, right? So you're able to choose the flavors that you want, and then, if you buy more tubs, then you unlock these free gifts. Okay. This functionality,
I will say,
yeah.
Oh God, yeah. I think you were about to talk about it, so go ahead.
Yeah, this functionality, the build your own bundle functionality, these are highly custom. Some of it's hard to achieve. We found an app that we can use on Shopify that allows us to build out this functionality. Because before that, there was other apps, but they would break and they'd be buggy. But I think there's one we found now that allows us to build out pretty.
What's the app, man? What's it called?
The app is called Sky Llama.
Okay, I saw that the other day, and I was gonna test it out. But okay, cool. That's great.
Let me type it in here. So just so you know.
And one of the things, as Jordan's typing here, is that these bundle building experiences are really complex. And one of the things we're trying to do at Replo is being able to do that functionality inside of Replo. We don't have it yet. You can do the simple stuff. So everything you've seen before, this build your own bundle stuff, you can do very easily in Replo. It's not that hard to set up. Multiple products added to cart in the same button click, those sorts of things. But these complex bundle builders, they typically are either custom coded or Sky Llama is like the move, it seems. Yeah. So go test that stuff out. If you want to see even more bundle experiences, one that I always reference is Huron. So use Huron.com. Yep. They've got a really great one. But yeah, again, it's a little bit complex to pull off, but they're very powerful if you can.
Yeah, agreed.
Awesome. Well, I know we're coming up at time, and what that actually means, because if you look at the screen, you'll see there are still more offers to cover. We're going to have a part 2 of this episode. There's so many things to cover inside of offers And Jordan has been so gracious to put all of this together. He's been just an absolute hustler on this. And we want you all to see this and understand these concepts and have all the tools available to deploy these things. So in part 2, we're going to finish going through all the different offer types that you can use. Jordan's going to talk about how you can layer different offers in. And then we're also going to dive in a little bit on how you can bring these things to life inside of Replo. So I appreciate you all joining us today. Very excited to run it back for part 2. Jordan, thanks so much, brother.
Yeah, thank you. And see you guys at part 2.